Hi people! Occasionally got a few questions about brushes and my tips and tricks for brushes, how I use them, what I use them for, etc. And I really firmly believe that brushes are a huge part of makeup application, your makeup execution. You could use the best eyeshadows in the world. If your brushes are shit, then you're kind of screwed. And so I am going to take you through brushes that I think are really important for you to have, how to use them, where not to use what, and general kind of rule of thumbs. A classic smoky eye, obviously it's pink, but I'm like a classic smoky eye shape and the brushes that you need for that. Also, how you use smaller brushes for details, etc. And of course the base. Yeah, so I kept it quite basic, minimal, or entry level brushes and things that you should be investing in and looking towards. You don't need loads of brushes, you just need the right ones. And I've also done a brow block tutorial for you since I've been asked before, and it's such a huge part of my look. So I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you so much for coming back. If you're new, welcome. Let's get into the toot. This is really good if you just want a skinny brow or no brow for a day. It'll give you a completely blank canvas to create whatever you want. Take some alcohol. Yes, this is isopropyl alcohol. This is 99% alcohol. Run it back and forth through your brows, through the brow area. This is maybe not something you would want to do every day, but the alcohol will help to take all the excess oil off and around your brow so that the glue doesn't lift. Next, take your Elmer's glue. Highly recommend. Nothing does it like Elmer's glue. There's loads of stuff on the market, obviously, but best I have found. So when it's purple, it means it's wet. I run it back and forth through my eyebrows to get into every nook and cranny, and then use a spoolie to flatten them to get them all up in the same direction. The spoolie will just help you get everything in there, and then flip your brush round and just flatten that. As that's drying, move on to the second one. And then this is dry now because it's clear, but I'm gonna go upwards with the glue just to double cure it and smooth it all over. I have to turn the fan on, it's too hot. Then you need your powder. Use loose or pressed. I kind of swap between both. I'm going to use pressed powder today. Then I like to take a puff because I feel like it just gives you the best coverage. Take your powder and press it on to the brows. I just feel like puffs really get the powder in there. Put it on like that. I'm taking a clean, big, fluffy brush and just taking off the excess. Then I take a cream color corrector on a small, dense brush. This will give you a lot of coverage, and just press it on. And we're using a color corrector to help neutralize the darkness of the brows so it looks completely bald as opposed to covered up brow. I'm going to just nip back to a bigger brush. It's still dense, just to blend it out a wee bit. Then I'm going to go back to the powder and repeat until it's covered up. And then I also just take like a bit of this, of like a light eyeshadow usually, and just like pop it on top just to sort of neutralize and brighten everything. I also like how alien-esque it looks because the lightness pulls the brow forward. Obviously that depends on the look, but I kind of find myself doing it more times than not. For my eyes, I want to do like a very classic smoky eye glam shape really, but I want it to be pink and black. So pink here in the inner corner and then smoky black here. So because it's a really classic shape, the guidance with the brushes will really help. So for my inner corner, which is the highlight color, which will be on the inner, I take like a round fluffy brush. It's not as fluffy as this because this will go everywhere and it's too big. This is small enough to fit into the inner corner of my eye, whereas a fluffy brush like this is too big, it's too much, everything's going to go everywhere. And obviously because I want it to be controlled, I want the brush to be smaller. So a good rule of thumb is the smaller your brush is, the more controlled and precise your application will be. And the bigger the brush, the more blurry, smoky, whatever it will be. I'm going to grab my pink. This is a Beauty Bay palette as per. And I just get it on all over the brush. And I pretty much just have it on one side. And then tuck it in the inner corner. And because I want to cover more surface area and get it in the inner tear duct a bit, I'm using it vertically as opposed to this. That has gone a wee bit chalky, so I'm just going to take off the excess with the clean fluffy brush. I feel like I want to go more pink because I always do like baby pink. So let's go to this one, just using the same brush, and press it in. I'm going to press it on because I don't want it to blur out because it's such a bright color. I want to be controlled with it, so I'm just pressing it, not moving it. I'm just packing it on. Excess down here, take it off like that. Next, I'm going to do the definition. I'm going to go straight to the black. Even though I want it to be smoky, I want my application to be precise because I need to apply the black and then blur it out with a different brush. So I need a very precise brush to apply it so it doesn't go everywhere, and then once it's applied, I can blend it out. So this, I just turn on its side and sort of carve out my shape. Again, I'm just doing a classic smoky shape, so outer corner. And again, I'm just packing it on. So the brush helps you with the first application. So you have like your foundation of the shape and the color on. And then I'm going to go to a fluffy brush and blend at the edges of that application. And you should use a really light hand. A brush will do the work for you. I'm also pressing it on. You'll find that really helps to blend, especially when you have a lot of color or a lot of product like the brow block underneath. Sometimes moving the brush around too much less can move everything, and sometimes just dabbing it and patting it around can help really seamlessly blend. I'm going to take a transition color on a fluffy brush because I want to merge the pink and the black. So I'm going to take this grayish kind of color and work that into the middle. And again, I'm just like stamp the edges of the black, and that will blend out the edges of the black. So I have my basic shape at the minute. It's quite messy, don't worry about it. I'm going to take bright color, and I'm using a fluffy brush and pressing that onto the brow bone. And then I'm also going to press it onto the inner corner just to brighten up both areas and blend where any color has gone too far. And fluffy brushes really are like your best friend. They'll do everything for you. And I'm just quickly going to do a little liner. I want a smoky lower lash, so I'm going to use a soft, fluffy brush. So this is a really good brush blending on the lower lash line because it's small. It's fluffy, but the bristles are short, so naturally they're dense and they're quite tightly packed, so you still have control because you don't want it to use a too big of a fluffy brush on the bottom like this one because you just won't have control. Take a bit of a transition shade again and blend out the liner, and you'll see it still gives me a smoky finish that I just couldn't do with a fluffy brush, but it looks like what a fluffy brush would do, if that makes sense. So we're here, very cute. I want the black on the upper lash line to be smoky and really defined as well. So I'm going to take this tiny brush. It's so skinny. It's super flat. It is literally perfect for a liner. It just does all the work for you. This is the best liner brush I've ever found for this kind of liner. So just take your black shadow on both sides of the brush and press it onto your lash line. It literally just does it for you. It's crazy. And then your liner and your eyes just look a bit more pulled together and defined. I'm going to use it on the inner corner as well, just to really perfect the smokiness in there. Do I want to add shimmer? Let's do it. Let's add a wee bit of sparkle. I'm going to use my fingers because that's how I prefer shimmer. I just find that it gives you the best pigment and control more than a brush ever could. I'm going to go curl my lashes, do my mascara, and then I'll be back. Lashes done. I'm gonna do a skinny brow, and I'm gonna go back to this brush because I love this for brows, especially when I'm drawing a skinny brow on top of a brow block, because again, it just does the work for you. That's exactly how thick I want my brow. So I'm gonna just wipe off the black. I feel like doing a light eyebrow, so I'm gonna take the transition shade that we used, tap off the excess, and then literally look straight in your mirror and just let the brush guide the way. So good. Love it. Now that the brow is on, I know that I want a bit more definition on the brow bone. So I'm going to use my brow highlight color. And then I'm going to use this flat synthetic packing brush because it just really nicely adds a little bit of color. It doesn't fly everywhere. It goes exactly where you want it, which is what I need at this point in the look, where I'm starting to perfect everything and polish everything. I'm not laying down the foundations anymore. I am enhancing, and they need to be strategic. Again, the smaller your brush, the more precise your application. Perfect. Now, brushes and your base are so important. I'm going to show you how I've been loving doing my base with different brushes. So first of all, I'm going to take my powder and a big fluffy brush. This is like, I use it as a primer. The big fluffy brush will just help you to get everything, obviously. And take down excess shine and just get in and get done very quickly. So I really love this Hourglass brush. It's an angled synthetic stippling brush, I would say. I really work the cream product into the brush. Because it's like a stippling brush, it won't be super full coverage, which is how I like my base. And then I just really gently take it over my T-zone, and it never makes me too, it allows me to have control, not be too full coverage. And I do this on a lot of models as well, so just like that. And then I'm really into cream contour these days, so I'm gonna be true to myself, to put my cream contour on. And for some reason, with cream based products like cream contour or bronzer or blush, I love to use like natural brushes as opposed to synthetic brushes like these. I just feel like it blends way better. I feel like sometimes when you use a synthetic brush and cream products, everything just disappears, whereas it doesn't when you use a natural brush. And I think these are Morphe brushes. They're so good. They're so well designed. These are great for the cheeks because they go so skinny here, you can really just slip it in where you need it to go. For blush, I'm going to use this lip stain thing, which is going to act as like a cream blush. And I really like to go back to my base brush because it will still have some product in it and it will mix with the blush, so it makes everything more seamless. And because it's pretty small, it works perfectly on the cheeks, and it is a synthetic stippling brush, so it blends the cream out really seamlessly. And I find it takes off excess like product. I don't like too much blush. Now I'm gonna go back to my powder, and I love to take a big fluffy eyeshadow brush, and I use it just to get into all the nooks and crannies. And I find that this just gives me a lot of control. I can be really precise with where I put it. It's not just going to be like a big, heavy layer of powder, essentially. And then I have a few wee bits of redness. I'm going to go back to my cream-based product, tiny amount. And I'm going to use a big fat packing eyeshadow brush to spot this in. It gives me a really controlled amount and blends at the same time. I'm not going to cut this. Boom. You can do another layer of powder to set that if you want. I don't need to. My skin is quite dry. That's that. For the sake of this look, I want a more matte blush. So I'm going to take this really pale blush on a tiny blush brush. Again, this is really good for the cheeks because it's the perfect shape. It just slots on so nicely like that. Gives you like loads of control so you don't put too much blush all over the place. And giggles, let's add a wee bit of white just to really brighten up the cheek. I'm really into this matte highlight thing. Just right on top. So good. Love it. Let's quickly do a lip. Now, great tip that I love. This is a paintbrush, just a flat angled brush. And I take my base product on both sides and I use it to clean up the lip line. Now it's just a really nice touch that sort of elevates everything like that. I think I want to add some flowers like this picture. So I'm going to take a black liquid lipstick just on the back of my hand. And then I'm going to take a skinny brush, bottom of it, dip it in the paint. 1, 2, 3, like that. And then I'm going to use the brush to brush. Another one here. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm gonna take black on the long skinny liner brush and just draw some wee branches. We've got some wee leaves, and then I think we should do some gems there. Gonna lob one there, do random ones really. Take some tweezers. I've got small, medium, large here obviously, and so I'm just gonna intertwine those. So small one and a medium, and then a medium like that. And do one here and one. Why the hell not? Small one and a small one. Cute. Let's do big one, small one, small one. No, that's enough I think. Cute. They were just all silver as well, by the way. Love it. Cute. Wonder how my feet are. Oh, not perfect, that's for sure. And why is it so far forward? Clipping this back because you actually can't even see the makeup. Alright. Finished look. So cute. I hope you like the look. I hope you like this video. I hope all the tips on the brushes were useful. And if you have any more questions or any more requests, please let me know. I want to know and I want to help and I want to talk about it with you. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.